Hey guys, it's Sublime Tales, bringing you the best of Reddit's wild stories. Stick around, like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell button. I inherited a Victorian house. And a family secret. When I received the call from Uncle Tom's lawyer, it was unexpected. I hadn't seen or heard much from Uncle Tom in years, and the news of his passing was a shock. The lawyer, Mr. Jenkins, informed me that as Tom's only living relative, I was the sole heir to his estate. The mix of grief and surprise was overwhelming. Uncle Tom had always been something of a mystery to me, and now I was thrust into the role of managing his affairs. The lawyer's office was housed in an old, grand building with high ceilings and dark wood paneling, adding a sense of solemnity to the proceedings. Mr. Jenkins greeted me with a formal handshake and led me into a small conference room. The reading of the will was straightforward. Apart from a few personal items, Tom's estate consisted of a large Victorian house and a substantial sum of money. The house was located in a small town several hours away. I had heard of it before, but only in vague terms. After the meeting, I drove to the house. The journey was long and filled with apprehension. The Victorian home, when I finally arrived, was impressive but clearly neglected. Its once grand facade was now overrun with weeds, and the windows were covered in grime. Stepping inside, the musty smell of dust and decay greeted me. The house seemed to be a relic from another era, frozen in time and waiting for someone to breathe new life into it. The first few days were spent cleaning and sorting through Uncle Tom's belongings. The house was filled with old furniture, dusty books, and boxes of knickknacks. In the attic, I found a box labeled personal effects. Inside were old photographs, letters, and a journal. Tom's journal was filled with detailed entries about his life, but one entry stood out. Today I received a letter from a man named Richard. He claims to be a distant relative and wants to discuss the family's past. I've decided to meet with him. I don't know what to make of this. The entry was dated 10 years earlier. Richard was a name I didn't recognize, and there was no mention of the letter itself. My curiosity was piqued. Who was Richard, and why had Tom decided to meet with him? Determined to find out more, I began researching Richard. I discovered that he was indeed a distant relative, but his current whereabouts were unclear. I reached out to genealogical societies and local archives but found little information. The mystery of Richard and the significance of the letter added an extra layer to the already overwhelming task of managing Tom's estate. As I continued to sift through Tom's belongings, I stumbled upon a hidden compartment in the library. Inside were several documents related to a small inheritance dispute. The documents included legal papers and correspondence hinting at a long-standing family conflict. One letter, in particular, caught my eye. It was written by Tom to a lawyer, discussing a settlement of old grievances and mentioning a hidden asset that had been kept secret for decades. The letter was unsigned but referenced a meeting with Richard. This discovery deepened my curiosity and concern. Eventually, I managed to trace Richard to a small town not far from the Victorian house. He was an elderly man living in a modest home. When I introduced myself and explained my connection to Tom, Richard welcomed me with a mixture of curiosity and cautious optimism. He was a frail man with a sharp mind. As we began to talk, he revealed that he and Tom were half-brothers. They had been separated by family disputes that had led to years of estrangement. Richard had tried to reconnect with Tom, but their relationship remained distant and fraught with unresolved tension. Richard explained that the hidden asset mentioned in Tom's letter was a piece of property with historical significance. Tom had acquired the land through a complex legal maneuver decades earlier, and it had been a point of contention. Richard believed that Tom had kept it secret to avoid further conflict. The property was valuable not only for its historical significance but also for its potential development. Richard and I decided to collaborate on resolving the situation. We agreed to preserve the historical aspects of the property while exploring its potential for development in a way that honored Tom's legacy and resolved the family's long-standing issues. We reached out to local historians and preservationists to ensure the property was handled with respect. As we delved into the project, we faced numerous challenges. The property was in worse condition than anticipated, and the historical documentation was incomplete. Richard and I worked tirelessly to navigate these obstacles, driven by a shared sense of purpose. The process also allowed us to form a closer bond. Richard's knowledge of the family's history and my determination to honor Tom's legacy created a powerful partnership. The transformation of the property into a community center was a significant undertaking. We envisioned the center as a hub for local events, historical exhibitions, and educational programs. It was heartwarming to see the positive impact it had on the community. The project became a symbol of reconciliation and healing, not only for our family but for the town as well. One of the most significant aspects of the project was the creation of a dedicated display about Tom and Richard's family history. The display included photographs, documents, and personal anecdotes that shed light on the family's past. It was a way to honor Tom's legacy and bring closure to the family's unresolved issues. During the opening ceremony of the community center, Richard delivered a moving speech about reconciliation and the importance of family ties. It was evident that the project had brought him a sense of closure and fulfillment. I felt a deep sense of accomplishment and gratitude for the journey that had led me to this point. While sorting through the final items in Tom's house, I discovered a small, locked drawer in the study. Using a key I had found earlier, I unlocked it. Inside were several items: old letters, valuable antiques, and another journal. This journal was different from Tom's. It was filled with entries from someone named Clara, Tom's mother. Clara's journal provided a window into the struggles and sacrifices that had shaped Tom's life and the family's history. Her entries revealed a loving and devoted mother who had endured significant hardships. Clara's experiences illuminated Tom's motivations and decisions, offering valuable insights into the family's complex past. With Clara's journal as a guide, Richard and I decided to include a section in the community center dedicated to her memory. The tribute honored Clara's resilience and strength, adding a new dimension to the center's mission of preserving history. The completed center became a testament to our efforts and a symbol of reconciliation and healing. However, just as the community center was nearing completion, I received another call from Mr. Jenkins. He had new information that would change everything. It turned out that Tom had been involved in a legal dispute with a previously unknown individual named Emily. Emily claimed that Tom had wrongfully acquired the property from her family. The claim was supported by documents showing that Emily's family had a legitimate interest in the property. The revelation was shocking. If Emily's claim was valid, it meant that the property might not have been rightfully ours to develop into a community center. The prospect of everything we had worked for being potentially invalidated was disheartening. The community center was nearing its grand opening, and the thought of losing it all was a heavy burden. Determined to resolve the issue, Richard and I began working with Emily to understand her claim. We discovered that Emily's family had been involved in a legal struggle over the property, but the documents had been misfiled and overlooked in the past. The dispute was complicated, involving historical legal maneuvers and long-forgotten agreements. It became evident that the property had been a point of contention for decades. Through mediation, Richard and I, along with Emily, sought a fair resolution. The negotiations were intense and emotionally charged. Emily's family had a legitimate claim, and we needed to find a way to honor that while preserving the community center's impact. Ultimately, we reached a settlement. The property would be shared between the community center and Emily's family. The center would remain operational, but Emily's family would have a significant role in its operation and a share of the proceeds. The resolution brought a sense of closure and satisfaction. The community center remained a symbol of reconciliation, not just within my own family, but between families with conflicting interests. The experience taught me about the complexities of inheritance and the importance of addressing unresolved issues with empathy and fairness. Update. Months after the community center's grand opening, things were running smoothly. The center had become a vibrant part of the community, offering programs and events that brought people together. Emily's family had integrated into the center's operations, and their involvement had enriched the center's offerings, reflecting their deep connection to the property's history. One day, I received an unexpected letter from Mr. Jenkins. Enclosed was a new will, one that had been found in an old safe deposit box. The will was dated just a few months before Uncle Tom's death and made a surprising revelation. Tom had made a provision to ensure that any remaining funds from his estate would be used to support a charity that focused on historical preservation and community development. The will included a detailed plan for the allocation of funds, specifying that a significant portion was to be donated to the community center. This new information not only provided additional financial support but also validated our efforts in preserving the property and fostering community engagement. The plot twist came when I discovered that Tom had been in contact with a renowned historian who had been researching the very history we were trying to preserve. The historian, Dr. Lydia Carter, arrived at the community center to present her findings. Her research had uncovered fascinating details about the property's past, including its role in significant historical events and its connections to notable figures from the area. The new information she provided added layers of depth to the center's exhibitions, turning it into a more comprehensive historical resource for the community. One revelation was particularly striking. The property had once been a crucial site for a major civil rights movement in the early 20th century. Documents and personal accounts revealed that it had served as a meeting place for activists working to promote racial equality and social justice. This piece of history had been unknown to most local residents, and it brought a new level of significance to the community center. As Dr. Carter continued to share her insights, it became clear that Tom's decision to leave a substantial portion of his estate to the center was not only a gesture of reconciliation but also a commitment to preserving and celebrating this important piece of history. The additional funds allowed us to expand the center's programs and develop new educational initiatives, including workshops and lectures on civil rights history. The community responded with enthusiasm. Local schools partnered with the center to incorporate its programs into their curricula, and the center hosted events that attracted visitors from neighboring towns. The center's impact extended beyond the immediate community, drawing attention from historians, educators, and activists interested in the property's storied past. The successful integration of Emily's family into the center's operations proved to be a positive development. Their personal connection to the property and its history enriched the center's narrative and fostered a sense of unity and shared purpose. Emily and her relatives became key figures in organizing community events and maintaining the center's historical exhibits. The center's success was a testament to the power of reconciliation and collaboration. Richard and I, along with Emily and her family, had transformed a complex inheritance into a legacy of positive change. The journey had been challenging, filled with unexpected twists and emotional revelations, but it had ultimately brought us closer together and allowed us to honor Tom's memory in a meaningful way. Reflecting on the entire experience, I realized that the inheritance had changed everything, not just for me, but for everyone involved. It had provided an opportunity to address family conflicts, preserve historical heritage, and create a space that fostered community engagement and learning. The project had taught me invaluable lessons about family dynamics, the importance of preserving history, and the impact of working together towards a common goal. The community center stood as a beacon of reconciliation and hope. It was more than just a building, it was a living tribute to the past and a promise for the future. The center continued to thrive, and its success was a reminder of the potential for positive change that can come from facing challenges with determination and empathy. The journey from inheritance to transformation had been a profound one, leaving a lasting legacy that would benefit future generations and honor the complex, rich history of the property and its people. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed these Reddit stories, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next one.